Hello everyone, this is Faith. I think I need to make it clear once again who my loyalty has always been to. Chanel and Brand. I tried my best to be a good friend to Ventador, but again, he's not being a good friend to me right now. This happens periodically. If he shows back up, I'll try to be friends with him again, and yes, he will have that loyalty, but right now, it's all a mess. I will always support Chanel and Brandt, even if I don't agree with him on everything. I still do intend to continue the EYA series. And just to finish that whole thing up, just wrap it up and leave everything up. As I've stated before, I still don't trust Kat to do the right thing here. If she proves me wrong, that's wonderful. I'd love to be proven wrong, but right now, as it stands, it's hard for me to trust her. I think it's hard for others in the community to trust her as well. I noticed that as soon as people mistrusted Kat, who made peace with Chanel, they suddenly started growing suspicious of Chanel, and they took every little detail that Chanel was saying and assumed the worst about it. Even the stuff that she'd always had to say, they assumed the worst. Why is that? Which spirit is asking you to assume the worst of Chanel? It's understandable to be suspicious of EYA, but Chanel, who's done literally nothing wrong and has only ever tried to help everybody here? That is something I simply do not understand. It makes no logical sense, and when Ventador told me over emails he was going to pray for me, suddenly some demonic entity showed up to tell me to turn my back on Chanel. If I recall correctly, a similar trick was also used back then when Harbinger of the Harvest was actively trying to get me to turn my back on Chanel. There were demonic entities back then, too, who were supporting that statement. When it's demons who support the statement that you need to turn your back on Chanel, then there's an issue with that. Demons cannot be trusted. I take issue with being told that I need to believe all the demons that think that I need to turn my back on her. I take issue every time someone tries to convince me I need to believe that statement. How I see it is the enemy is working very hard to make sure everybody misunderstands Chanel's intentions as much as is possible, and people think that that is somehow from God. They thought the exact same thing way back when I first started helping Chanel, and now people think it again. It's strange, it's bizarre, it's warped. But all of that said, I will not listen to the entities. I'm really bad at listening to those. I tend to fight really hard against anything that they say, and tried my very best to not be influenced. Doesn't mean I've never been influenced or whatever. It just means I tend to fight back. And I don't take that standing down. Probably because of all the warfare I've dealt with my entire life. When you've been through a ton of spiritual warfare since you turned 12 and it never really stopped, you develop at least some resistance to all of it. Doesn't mean that that's perfect. It just means that there's a bit more immunity. Anyway, Chanel and Brand have been very kind to me, and I do not believe that they have changed as Ventador is saying that they have. Ventador is making assumptions, and he is refusing to even speak with Chanel about his concerns. Instead, he's insisting his concerns have to be right. I hate it when he gets like this. This behavior is unwise conduct. If you have a concern about something, you should go directly to that person. I did tell Chanel in private that I didn't trust Kat before I went public with some of that. If Vencedor has concerns about Chanel's piece with Kat, he should go to Chanel privately. Instead of just saying, oh, she's become a cultist now, and acting like that is justifiable behavior, when he never asked her about it. He told me in emails that he refuses to talk to her about it. I'm sorry, but why is his grievance that Chanel made peace with Kat? We should be suspicious of Kat, not Chanel. That is my take. Just suddenly being all suspicious of Chanel and turning on her and acting like that's justified when it's not. That doesn't help matters. If you are concerned about it, about what happened between Kat and Chanel, you should go directly to Chanel. If you are concerned about anything Chanel might have said, you need to go directly to Chanel and talk to her about it. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to make all these assumptions now based on certain statements that she made, and then it's just, you have to be right about it. You're not. And the fact that as soon as Vencedor told me he was going to pray for me, some entities showed up in my home to try to get me to turn on Chanel, and something ain't right with that. Something is not right here. It's concerning. I will see everybody next time. Thank you for watching.